I used to send emails before I had a manager and pretend like I had a manager and be like, Courtney's not going to do that. But it was often just me. But now there is more of a we.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Justin Jewell back with blue hair and another episode of Creator Spotlight. Today, we're talking to Courtney Quinn from colormecourtney.com. And one thing that's really cool about her is that she's got this unique business model where she collaborates with brands who want to hang out in the colorful corner of the web that she's built over the years. So let's get Courtney on a meet session and see what she's been up to. Okay, so if you could sort of like walk me through how you got to where you are now and maybe explain why you decided to launch a website in the first place?
I grew up in Arizona. It's very beige, very suburbia, and I always had dreams of coming to New York City. So I went to business school. I got my MBA at 21, and then I moved to New York. At the beginning, I really started with a blog because to me, like it was like the clear way to have ownership over something. I from like my marketing background understood like social media and that world, but just didn't see myself owning something that I put on social media because I always knew those companies would own it. And I knew that a domain was something that I could buy myself and kind of have more control over like changes and things that have happened to platforms. ColorMeCourtney.com is like my only presence that I can own no matter what. So that's why I've always kind of worked and invested on it that way.
Seems like Color Me Courtney is sort of like a hub for like a bunch of different brands that you do. Give us the rundown of like all the creative projects that you're focused on.
Color Me Courtney started really just because I've always had an extreme love for color and I really wanted to start a fashion blog because I wanted to work in fashion. So it started out as like, here are my outfits, here are some shopping links, like that kind of stuff. I quickly learned that like being a quote unquote fashion blogger isn't really me. And I was trying to fit this mold that existed. So once I started to like pivot and kind of just lean into the things that interest me, that's when my blog really started to grow and take off. So the first probably big project that we did about 3 years ago was making colors of the month. So under each month, I celebrated a new color under Color Me Courtney. So we would do Color Me Orange, Color Me Yellow, like all these things. And each month we would do a deep dive into that project. This year, because 2020, we've kind of adjusted it a little bit because people were like, "Oh, I feel like we've been doing orange for 4 months," and I'm like, "It's only been 1 month. It's just how it feels right now." So I've done things like we did a pastel month, we did a pattern month, things like that. So it didn't feel like so stagnant because the time has been stretching longer than we're used to. Then outside of that, also within like the Color Me Courtney brand, I have Waffles, who's my French bulldog, and he appears in a lot of content and things like that. He's had a few series features, like we did Waffles Wednesday for a while, where he would take over. And then maybe over the past 2 years, I launched a second Instagram account, which I really planned on it just being on social media, but the demand for it was so high that now it's become a huge part of my website. And that was Color Me Magic, which is pop culture focused. So it's like a lot of like pop culture movies, TV shows, a lot of kind of that nerd culture that I'm into, but my Color Me Courtney community only will take a certain amount of it. They won't take it like all the time. So I built a second community of people who are kind of maybe as like nerdy as me and are willing to lean into that pop culture side of it a little bit more.
You talked a lot about your projects. I wonder if you could talk a bit about like how you're monetizing.
So we work with brands a lot. Usually the brand will reach out to us and share whatever idea they have. It didn't always start out that way. When I first started out, I was pitching a lot. So I was just cold emailing brands. I'd create pitch decks and send them and be like, I really want to tell this story, and here's how you fit into the story, and here's how much I would like to make in exchange for that relationship. Now, I think because we kind of own the color category, like if a brand is launching a product in the color sphere, a lot of times they'll come to us to tell that story and to create content for them, either that lives on our blog, on social media, or sometimes we create content that we don't actually publish and they like just buy the rights to it and then they use it however they see fit. Every collaboration is different. Sometimes it's like an ambassadorship of like 6 months to a year. Sometimes it's like one set of Instagram stories. It can be anywhere in between depending on what the brand wants and needs for their project and to tell that story. A lot of bloggers do web ads on their site. I don't have any on my site right now, so I'm not monetizing in that way. Usually in a pre-pandemic world, I would do anything from like hosting events to being on a panel or being a judge for things, a lot of like more in real life things that I haven't really done at all now.
About the advertisements on your site,
Yeah.
why do you choose not to do that?
My biggest fear always is because I have like a very specific brand here at Color Me Courtney, like pretty PG, like there's a lot of things like I don't say or a lot of like products I would never want to promote. And there is like a little bit of a lack of control of what ads could end up on my site. So there's like this fear to where like the control freak in me is like if this brand that like maybe had a bad reputation for like not supporting like certain groups or something like that ended up on my site, I would be like, ah, no. So I'm like just started re-exploring it because I haven't closed the door on it entirely. Just trying to figure out the best way to do it to where I can support those brands in a way, but also really keep my brand intact because I think that's like the most important thing.
That's interesting. I also think it just seems more authentic the way you're dealing with advertisements and stuff. So like to me, when I look at your site, it's like sort of refreshing that there's not a bunch of ads on there. It's something that you said in the questions that you filled out about how the internet sort of gets a bad rap for being like a negative space, but you actually see it in this other way. Could you maybe talk about that a little bit?
For sure. So the internet can be sometimes a dark place, sometimes a scary place. I kind of think of it in a different way because I think that it's a place for people who are different, who maybe have unique interests, who maybe don't feel like they fit in real life, that they can come and connect and join together and like have kind of like this group like understanding or community. And so that's really what I use my community as here online. I call like my followers the Color Me Cuties, and then the followers on Color Me Magic are the Color Me Minis. So I have minis and cuties. I learn just as much from them as they learn from me, and it really is a two-way streak. It's a relationship. It's not me just like up there preaching about what color you should wear. It's me asking, what do you feel about yellow? And then people coming back and being like, I love yellow, but I could never wear it because my skin tone is like this. And I'm like, no, no, you can wear it as a skirt, wear it as a headband. Like, here's how you make it work. And then we have a conversation. And then in the end of the day, everyone can come together and wear yellow. Truthfully, there are, and there always will be people who are big and bad with a keyboard and will like sit in the dark and type mean things about you. But for me, I'm not really afraid of that because usually it's not true and I just don't take it to heart unless it's true. And if it is true, that means there's an opportunity for me to grow from it. So either way, I like walk out with something new.
I see that you specialize in these like time lapse videos that are done
Oh
really
yeah,
well.
stop motion video.
Yeah, stop motion. That's what I meant. Okay, so I'm gonna show you my first shot at a stop motion video, and
Oh,
then
fun.
I want you, if you're cool with it, I want you to critique it.
Okay, let's see it. It's so cute. The most important thing I think for stop motion video is you want someone to be able to sit there and watch it forever and not really know where it starts and ends. So I think it's very impressive that you actually made it loop. So like I don't know if you're watching, you walk off and then you walk back on, and it creates this like continuous thing of like, did he do it once or did he do it 100 times? I don't know.
I think I did that on accident.
And then the other thing is like if you can add magic moments, if if I was doing your video, maybe I would have like something random appear in the tree and then disappear in the tree so that people the second time they watch it, they were like, wait, what's that? Especially because it's kind of spooky.
Can you tell me 5 things you appreciate about the open web?
So, 5 things I appreciate about the internet. One, it's for everyone. There's a place for everyone. Two, it can be positive if you use it in the right ways. Three, it can connect people and introduce you to people that you never would have known about. Four, it can help you grow and challenge yourself in new ways. And five, it's undefeated. Like the memes and like the crazy stuff that makes you laugh for no reason, like it's undefeated.
And I think we're cool on this interview.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.